Hey guys, hey again. I thought since I have to remake the dual manifestation video, I thought I'd go ahead and also make a video about the other kind of fraud trick these guys are doing, which is that third eye reading through a blindfold thing. Now, there's an article actually where a few magicians went down to one of these presentations and they actually exposed the guy. So I'll link this article below. You can read it. You can read about it, how they did it, and they go into how if you're even there, or if you run into this group, how you can counter the trick that they're doing. So what the trick actually is. So how they run the scam is there is a gap in between, around here, the nose, or even this side or this side. So there's a gap in between the blindfold that the person can see through, and they can only see from the bottom. Now, there's a lot of actual ways to do this kind of trick, and if you're in a place where you have two devotees of Nithyananda, and the devotee is writing something on a piece of paper and giving it to the other person to see, you have to pretty much assume straight away that both people are in on it, and they could just tell each other what it was that they were going to write. But in a case like this, so sometimes they do public presentations or maybe with a new devotee to kind of convince them that what they're doing is legitimate. They let you write whatever you want on it. And this is the go-to method, is they just leave a little bit of space. Very simple trick. They leave a bit of space in a blindfold that they can see out of. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it, and people keep on falling for it. It's such a simple trick, and let's go have a look at a few videos. So one thing that gives this away is when another person puts on the blindfold. Sometimes it might not be put on, sometimes it might be put on too tight or something, so that the gap is not prominent, so they can't see out of it. So a telltale sign is that it is a fraud, which it is they're going to adjust the blindfold, they're going to touch the blindfold, adjust and move it around after it's being put on. So you can have a look at someone putting on the blindfold here. So this is the girl putting the blindfold on. And you're going to see her adjusted a lot, quite a lot. So all these layers, by the way, it's a distraction. So we're putting on all these layers. It doesn't matter how many layers you put on, because the gap is right underneath there. So see, you can even kind of tell that there's a gap there. So all these extra layers, they don't actually do anything. They're just to show, like, yeah, we're putting on all these extra layers. That means they're really not going to see it. So from the beginning, so she's already adjusting it, and she's already moving it around to make sure that the gap is there. So maybe she put it on a bit too tight, because again, even if the other person is in on it and they're going to try to leave the gap for them, there you go. So did you see that? Let's have a look again. The video is a bit blurry, so, and there. So there. So even though the other person is in on it as well, they might still, they can't see out of the blindfold. So they might put it on a bit too tight. They might cover up the spot. So the other person, especially if it's a kid, I see kids adjusting it quite a bit, so to make sure they can see through it. So that's one video. Now the original video that got so much attention, I think it's this one here. Now this video, I think it's the same girl, but it's heavily edited, so you can't actually see. It shows them putting on the blindfold, but then it just cuts off, and it doesn't actually show you what happens after the blindfold is put on, in between that and her actually starting the reading. But what's interesting about this, first of all, so let's go to where she's doing the reading. So she's already got the blindfold on when the reading starts, so we don't see her adjusting it in between. But this is an interesting cut. So it's a very polished video. This is the one they really put out there for people to, to see this amazing third eye thing. It's just a lot of crap. But you're going to see her go to adjust her blindfold now, and the video is going to cut out right at the moment where she was going to adjust it. So just watch. And you can watch the full video, like I downloaded it just in case these guys take it down. There you go. So She goes to adjust it, and just at that moment, as she's going to adjust her blindfold, boom. So right after she goes to adjust it, the video cuts away to him, a close-up of him holding the little writing pad. The other thing in this video, again, because this video is really heavily edited, it's really hard to tell, but the other thing is what she's doing here. So she's got her wrist, because she's a kid. Like, yeah, she's been taught how to do this trick. And really, anybody who thinks these kids kids are incapable of lying, and they really don't have an experience. So Europeans have an experience with gypsy families and things like that. You know, in Ukraine, if you go to a cemetery, you're going to have a couple of kids. So as you drive in, you're going to have a couple of little kids come up to your car asking you for a bit of money, and you better give them a bit of money, because if you don't, they're going to basically smash your car windows in and, you know, take down your tires and do all kind of nasty stuff to it. So these kids are street kids. These kids are poor kids. Well, I'm not sure about her. I think she actually lives in America. So I've got a, you can go to her Facebook page and actually, so this is her in her natural attire, this little girl, and her whole family is in on the scam. And yeah, but if you think that kids aren't capable of doing this, you just don't have the same experience. Maybe people in the West are maybe a little bit gullible. If you're poor, you'll do anything, including tricking, especially Westerners, into giving them your money. And that's exactly what's happening here. But so what's happening in this video is she's actually taking her, as she's drawing the picture, she's covering up the picture with her wrist just naturally, and she keeps taking her wrist off like this and looking at the picture so she can draw it. Now, if this is a third eye, if you're looking for the third eye, why would she need to take her wrist off all the time? I mean, shouldn't she be able to just see that? When they talk about what they see, as they look through the third eye, they say that these images just come to them. So they're not actually looking through. So they say these images just pop into their mind of what they're seeing. So if this image of a tree is just going to be popping into her mind, why in this video does it look so much like she's actually looking? And I think this guy actually asks her in the video as well, can you actually see it or not? Why does it look like she's just looking through, like, it's exactly what I'm saying. She's looking for a little gap in between the blindfold, and that's why she's taking her wrist up and down, so she can see the actual picture with her eyes as she traces it. I think this guy actually asks her.
Even the, oh wow.
1, 2, 3.
Exactly.
Like 1, 2.
Oh my gosh, you're doing each piece of grass exactly the same.
Then like this.
Even the, oh wow.
Oh, so this guy. Anyway, it's hard to tell if this guy's in on it or not. Maybe he's just another gullible supporter. But he might well be in on it. You just don't know. You just don't know who's in on it or not. You just gotta assume that they are. But even if they are, like in this next video. Hey guys, I'm gonna jump in here because this is actually a repost of a video I put up before. So in the original video, there was a clip in here that I recorded on my computer screen. But on my computer screen was a video playing from my Nithya, where she was showing a third eye demonstration. And I got a copyright infringement notice sent by her. Now to fight that, I have to like do all this legal stuff, which I'm not going to be bothered with. But nonetheless, you know, this shows the integrity of these people. And I was giving this girl a bit of slack because I was saying that maybe she isn't in on the scam completely. But this just shows that, you know, she's really in on the scam. But it shows the integrity of these people, where they won't even allow some certain criticism or comments of any of their videos to go ahead, where they have to, you know, shut any kind of criticism down, because it is a cult. You know, they are a scam artist. And now she pretty much confirmed, by taking my video down, she confirmed who she is, that she's a scam artist with no integrity, like the rest of them, just pieces of scum pretty much. And what I was going to point out in the video You can go have a look at it while it's still up. So what I was going to point out is in that video, so they do a reading with the blindfold, where the blindfold doesn't really move too much once she puts it on. But what was interesting about it is she holds the paper. What you got to know is she holds the paper underneath her nose, where the gap is in her blindfold, which you can see through. And I was pointing out that, you know, if you're looking through your third eye, if that's what they claim, why does it look suspiciously like there is in fact a gap? Why does it look like she's reading from a gap in between her nose and one of her cheeks, and having the paper down at the bottom, and you can see the paper move up and down in her hands as she's reading the words written down. And you know, she misses a word at the start, I think, at the top, because of how she holds the paper to begin with, because maybe the gap is quite small and she has to go back to it. But you can see the paper moving with her fingers. You know, it's moving up and down as she's looking through the gap to read the letters. That's what's going on in that video. You can have a look at that. I wanted to kind of comment on it, and I think I also said that that's the way to counter it, is that you simply have to put anything above the like nose level. So if you put something, and make sure that it doesn't actually ever go into underneath the nose. So whatever you write down, if you're at one of these meetings and you see them and they, you know, ask for volunteers or something like that, so you want to make sure that none of the writing actually goes below the nose level. So as soon as you write it, you want to hold it right, stick it right in front of the third eye, you know, stick it right at the forehead where they claim they can see something. And you're going to see the magical powers of third eye vision is going to completely disappear instantly for whatever reason. But again, sorry I couldn't get the clip down. Can't be bothered dealing with all the legal nonsense. But it just shows, you know, it's also like you're sending a legal notice out. You know, these guys are professional scam artists here, and they got a lot of money behind them if they're doing, you know, full-on legal notices to take videos down. A video that isn't even like, I was recording my computer screen technically. I don't know what the legal stuff of YouTube is for that, and it was for comments. So I'm probably, you know, if I wanted to pursue it, I'd probably have the video back on. But that's all you get. You get a kitty, so which is even better than looking at this two, you know, disgusting human beings. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt, but I was wrong. We're both horrible people with no soul and no integrity. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. Bye. Guy who has cardboard cutouts of himself. God, that's a clue right there. You know, if your spiritual teacher has a cardboard cutout of themselves, that's a massive clue that probably you're not on the right path. Okay, yeah. But you know, if this funny looking Indian guy is getting some sweet Western poontang, you know, all the best for him. You know, I don't want him to go to jail just because he's bullshitting his way into a girl's pants. You know, if we start locking people up because they are lying to someone, because they're not being completely honest with someone to get them to sleep with them, probably all of us are going to be in prison, men and women. You know, women lie about their age and their past, you know, sexual history or whatever as well. So none of us are really honest about that kind of thing. But again, I'm just putting this out there so you can make up your own mind about it. And I do feel bad about the genuine spiritual seekers, the people who actually want to improve their lives and who just get stuck in this kind of cult and promote this cult. And I'm going to talk about the ethics of it in another video, perhaps, the ethics of actually sending money to these scams in India, where a lot of money does actually get funneled out into kind of charity work, because, you know, even this cult will probably create some charity work around it, especially when it has millions coming through. Definitely not all of that money. So for example, this is that girl who, you know, takes jewels out of her mouth, and I found this on Facebook. So these guys are enjoying Disneyland on your dime. This is her husband. Her husband doesn't have a Facebook page link, because I'm guessing that if he did, it would have some probably not so spiritual stuff in it. So this is them in the natural habitat. So this is the scam artist here. So here she is, and she pulls gems out of her mouth or some stuff like that. And there you got the cardboard cutout again. So again, make up your own mind about it, do the research, check out the article, but these scams are just so prominent in India, and I found this video as well. So there's this thing apparently in India called the midbrain activation, and it's kind of like the same thing, like they tell kids that they can program their mind to be so good and so powerful that they'll be able to read through a blindfold as well. And there's this video of this doctor who actually gets a bunch of kids and gets them to do the same trick, and he shows you how this trick is done. So if you look up midbrain scam or something like that, this is more of a local scam for the Indian people, whereas the spiritual scam, I guess, is more for Westerners. But you can watch this video. He's got a bunch of kids come on, does the same thing with blindfolds. He even puts, you know, like a snorkel on, and does all kinds of stuff, you know, to them. So when he puts these things on, they actually can't see through it. So the scam fails. But check it out. Have a look. I'll put all the links down below, and yeah, all the best, guys. And I'll just say again, whenever you see any of these kinds of videos, like this Jess chick apparently had another video on before this that had a manifestation video which she took down, which exposed these scams also. Download these videos straight away as soon as you see them, because they're not going to have these videos up for long. So make sure you download them, keep them on your hard drive, just in case you might need them in the future to upload to show other people what's going on. So I've got a bunch of the videos I downloaded, and yeah. Alright guys, all the best, and yeah. I really hate having my video flagged, so you just encourage me to make more videos. Thank you. Nithyananda, follow us.